Hey guys, Jason over at Kaiser Willys. I want to talk today about steering gearboxes. We've got our brand new worm shafts here that we have at Kaiser Willys. This is an A8838, the early one. It's the same thing as the 647693 from here down. Only difference being the length of the tube. Also, you have this side brush area where your wire is going to come out the side of it. So you have a blockage here from there to the end of the tube, whereas the 647693 has a straight through hole all the way to the end where the wire goes out the end of the box. So I want to talk a little bit today about tolerances and so forth with the new worm shafts, along with what I have here. You guys have seen in my video. This is the worm shaft out of the CJ3B. I had to cut it. I cut it down short so I could get the body off. The nut on the other end was welded. There were no more splines. There wasn't any more thread, so I just cut it. So that being said, I have an original worm shaft to then measure tolerances against these new ones. I also have our tight steer, our shims. This is the kit tight steer that we already sell. We make these here at Kaiser Willys. We own the patent and so forth. You see the set pin. This is a GPW gearbox. You can see the F script right there. I also have our sector shaft and then the hardware to attach everything onto the case. All right, so let's take some of these tolerances here. Okay. So if I go all the way to the back right here on the second, I've got 0.305. On our brand new worm shaft, if I go in the same spot, 0.315 give or take. And again, it's a used 3.309. 4 thousandths difference between ours and the original. And if you look, the original has wear. You can see all of those shiny spots where the copper or brass has been worn off by the nubs on the sector. That's probably the difference there. So again, we're not off by much, and that's all the way back to the groove. Now, if I want to come all the way to the front of the groove, on the same worm shaft cut, 0.424. If I take this right here and I put this on the very end, 0.424. Right there, 0.424. Spot on. So we're 4 thousandths difference deep and we're the same on the edge. So all the way back. On the second. Right there. Got the same measurement. So 2 different worms, points on the worm shaft, identical. And this is the original steering shaft. And you can see that this is right there. This is the one that came out of the 3B. So we've got the same tolerances here. So that being said, let's go ahead. I'm going to load these balls back into one of the bearings here for this shaft. We'll put it into the gearbox and then we'll go ahead and start spinning it and kind of show you guys what that looks like. All right, guys, now that I've got this all installed, I've got everything tightened in here the way that it's supposed to. You can see the worm shaft goes through its swoop without any jumping. It's not pulling or anything like that. So if I put this just like this, what you have, some of the worm shafts, the issue that was happening, and this is where we had testing and all that kind of stuff happen. They sent shafts to us and so forth. We tested the old manufacturers and it just kept pulling. So what would happen is this would get through one revolution here. And when it would get to the center of the worm shaft, this guy would start pulling itself out, like the center part of the worm shaft was actually milled in properly. These shafts do not do that. So you can watch it go through its full swoop. And this is without the cap on, without the cover box or the cover plate for the box on. You'll see that there is no jumping. There's no pulling on the sector, nothing like that. It goes completely through the swoop, very smooth, all the way from end to end. So now if I were to put this box cover back in place, this would no longer bind. That was the issue with previous manufacturer. These shafts are not like that. The tolerances match the originals. It goes perfectly smooth through the steering cycle, all the way left, all the way right, back to center. Now about this box cover, this is a little set screw. And the way that this works is it would actually put tension onto the head of your sector, keep making it so that it would keep contact with the worm shaft and take out some of the play. Here's the problem with these. These are set. These are hard parts. There is no allowable tolerance of any kind. That's why we have these tensioners. This is spring loaded, so it allows it to have a little bit of give if, say, something in there is wearing out. So you can adjust this. You'll set this into the box cover until it has pressure. Again, this is spring loaded, so you have about 1/8 of an inch right here that is within the adjustment range, and then you have your jam nut, which allows you to tighten it down once you've got it set. So it's very adjustable. You can put a wrench here if you need to back it up some. So let's say that you're working on it and you want to back this out, you'll back this out and then tighten the nut back in. If you want to tighten it in, loosen the jam nut, screw it in, tighten the jam nut. That's the way this tensioner works. But since we've got this set up right here, we're going to use original parts, since that's what most people are going to have on their vehicles now. So I'm doing more or less, standard issue procedure with the new worm shafts. I'm not putting a gasket on here. It's not going to affect any sort of tolerance for this video. We'll get these run in and tightened in, and then we'll do it again. We'll show you that the nose of this sector shaft isn't going to pull out, just the same once you have it under some tension. All right, so now that we've got everything tightened down and so forth, I'm going to go ahead and get this through the cycle. So I'm all the way left right now. I'll start to go all the way right. All right, we've bottomed out all the way right. We have nice smooth movement through the entire path and travel of our sector shaft. There's no pulling, no movement or anything, and that's with this set pin. And again, you can upgrade that with our tight steer kit. So it gives you a little bit more flexibility here at the box to put tension on worn or used worm shafts. You want to do this without the seal installed because you're testing everything before installing the seal, as with anything else. So now what you'll do is you'll pull the cover, you'll pull this, you'll slap your oil seal down in here, reassemble everything, make sure you put some lubricant on the seal so you don't damage it as you put the sector shaft back through. And that is our brand new worm shafts, showing you all the tolerances and so forth, with an original shaft that I pulled from one of our CJ3Bs that we're working on right now. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope that helps with your steering. See you on the next video.